Alrighty, YouTube, Niner Empire, what is going down? Welcome back to another video. So the 49ers officially have their final injury report going into this game Sunday versus the Eagles. So as far as players listed as questionable, officially listed as questionable going into this game, Eric Armstead is listed as questionable. Now, obviously, he told reporters already that he will be playing, but the Niners have him listed as questionable, probably as a cautionary type of thing. Jordan Mason is questionable. He's dealing with a hamstring injury. Now, Jordan Mason and Eric Armstead obviously didn't practice on Thursday, but they were upgraded to limited participants on Friday, along with Ray McLeod dealing with a rib injury. He didn't practice Thursday either, and he's officially listed as questionable. So Armstead, Mason, and McLeod all have what seems to be minor injuries. So I probably would expect all of them guys to be playing on Sunday, especially Eric Armstead. Like I said, I mean, the guy already told reporters that he will be playing, and Eric Armstead's not a guy that would want to miss a big game like this one. And then as far as obviously the already notable injuries that the Niners have, Nick Zakelj, George Odum, Talanoa Hufanga, all those guys are out for the season. Odum and Nick Zakelj both have torn biceps, and then Hufanga, of course, has that torn ACL. So really, in all reality, like the 49ers, other than the guys that are already on injured reserve, are going into this game fairly healthy, which is big news because the 49ers are going to need as many reinforcements possible going into this game against Philadelphia. And then actually, I forgot one more injury. Nick Bosa was actually added to the injury report as a limited participant in practice on Friday due to a toe issue. He's not listed with the game status, though, so obviously he will be playing, but that's definitely something to keep an eye out on. Clearly it's not severe or it's not serious, hence to why he doesn't have an injury designation. So that's good news for Nick Bosa, but he was a limited participant on Friday with that toe issue. So they probably were just not trying to, have him work out at a high level as a full participant. Probably told him to take it easy, just in case that injury could be, just in case he didn't re-injure that toe or kind of re-aggravate that toe. So I don't know what the toe issue is, though. I don't know if it's something like turf toe with turf toe, Nick Bosa's probably out for a couple games with turf toe. I mean, Aaron Banks, I believe, had turf toe, and that's what kept him out for some time. Or maybe it was Colton McKivitz that had turf toe. One of the Niners' offensive linemen had turf toe, though. I want to say it was Aaron Banks, and it kept him out for 2 games. So turf toe is a little more of a serious injury, but clearly it doesn't seem like Nick Bosa has that because, again, he's not listed with a game status. So Bosa will be playing. And then as far as the Eagles go, the Eagles actually have some pretty notable injuries going into this game. Starting off with their linebacker, Zach Cunningham. He has a hamstring injury, and he will not be playing Sunday versus the Niners. So I would definitely expect the 49ers to exploit, those linebackers. I can't remember. I think it's Ellis. I can't remember the first name. Christian Ellis. He will be filling in for the injured Zach Cunningham, and Christian Ellis has actually struggled big time against the pass and in coverage this year, so I would fully expect the Niners to exploit that weakness that they're going to have. Probably get a guy like George Kittle heavily involved with Zach Cunningham being out. So that's a pretty notable injury for the Philadelphia Eagles. Safety Justin Evans is also out with a knee injury. I'm not sure if he's a starter of any sort. I'm sure he probably comes in on certain packages maybe. I'm not sure about Justin Evans, but he's not playing in this game as well. And then Dallas Goedert, Philadelphia Eagles tight end, is doubtful and probably will not play with a forearm injury. He's been dealing with his forearm injury for some time now. I believe he broke his forearm. I believe that's what it was a couple weeks ago. It landed him on injured reserve, I believe, or maybe they didn't put him on injured reserve. I'm pretty sure they put him on IR, though, with that forearm injury, and that kept him out, obviously, for some time. I could be wrong, though. It may have been a situation where they didn't put him on IR just to kind of see how things would play out with that. But he is doubtful, so he will likely not play Sunday versus the Niners. Now, Dallas Goedert's backup, Grant Calcaterra. I think that's how you say that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's Grant Calcaterra. Backup tight end under Dallas Goedert. He is questionable with an ankle injury, so I'm sure that's probably going to be some type of game time decision, or we may get an update on that, later on tonight when Schefter tweets out some of the players that are hurt and some of the players that are playing. And then a big injury for the Eagles is Fletcher Cox. He's actually questionable with a groin injury. I believe it kept him out last week against the Commanders. Or not last week against the Commanders. I believe Philly may have been on a bye last week. Maybe. No, Philly played Buffalo. But I believe that injury kept Fletcher Cox out of the Buffalo game. So it'll be interesting to see if he ends up playing against the Niners. I would imagine, just given how big of a game this is for both teams, I would imagine Fletcher Cox plays. I mean, if I had to put money on it, I would assume that he plays. But you never know. I mean, with a groin injury, those things are tricky. It's all about pain tolerance. It's all about, where he's currently at in the recovery process. So we'll see what happens with Fletcher Cox moving forward onto this game. But I definitely think that's obviously something to keep an eye out on going into this game. So, and then as far as the guys already on injured reserve for the Eagles, Nakobe Dean, Avonte Maddox, Zach McPherson, Roderick Johnson, which I don't think Roderick Johnson's a starter. But all those guys are currently on injured reserve, so none of them guys will be playing either. So this is going to, there's a lot of, it seems like there's more notable injuries to the Philadelphia Eagles going into this game. Again, the Niners are fairly healthy, other than the more notable guys, Talanoa Hufanga, George Odum. George Odom's a special team ace. He doesn't start anyway. Hufanga's obviously, going to be out for the remainder of the season, so no matter what, week in and week out, he's going to be on that injury report. But, at the end of the day, man, Jair Brown has filled in for Hufanga, I think, just fine. And he's going to continue to get better. There's going to be games where he struggles. The Eagles will probably try to exploit him in this game. But Jair Brown's getting an opportunity to prove, everybody that he's that guy. And like I said, I think he's played fine up until this point so far. But I definitely full-on expect the Eagles to try to target him a lot and try to go over the top of him. So we'll see what happens, though. Like I said, I think the Eagles going into this game have way more notable injuries than the 49ers do. Really the only notable injury going into this game is Eric Armstead, but he's playing. Like I said, he's already told reporters that he's playing, so there's nothing to worry about there. But yeah, man, we'll see what happens. That is all the injuries. That is the official injury report going into the game. So again, just to recap, Eric Armstead, Mason, Ray McLeod, all questionable for this game. Scratch Eric Armstead, though, he will be playing. So really it's only Jordan Mason, Ray McLeod going into the game is questionable. And then as far as Philadelphia, you got Zach Cunningham out, Justin Evans out, Dallas Goedert doubtful, most likely won't play with the forearm injury. Questionable, Grant Calcaterra, ankle injury. Fletcher Cox is also questionable. So some notable injuries for the Eagles, some injuries to the Niners. I would expect everybody except for probably Goedert and the guys that are already out for Philly. I would expect Calcaterra to play, and I would expect Fletcher Cox to play as well. So yeah, man, we'll see what happens, but that is the official injury report going into this game on Sunday. Again, this is a game where I would expect all the top-notch players from both sides to suit up and play, whether they're dealing with injuries or not. So we'll see what happens. The Niners are actually currently a 3-point favorite now. It was a 2.5-point favorite, but that line bumped up 2.5 points. So it seems like the 49ers will stay as a 3-point favorite going into Sunday, which again is pretty surprising given the fact, the circumstances of both teams. But, I made a video on that, and I also listed reasons why it really isn't surprising. that the Niners are favored, but we'll see what happens. But that line seems like it's pretty much going to stay in San Francisco's favor. So, as always, go Niners. Official injury report, obviously, like I just gave you guys. So, let me know your guys' thoughts on this injury report. Let me know what you guys think about the Eagles side of things, the Niners side of things. But yeah, as always, go Niners. I'll see you guys in the next one.